What's up everybody, it's your boy Duty back again with another video. And this time I wanted to do a quick video on a piece that I heard the other day on the That Being Said podcast on the groupthink. I think it was yesterday. And they were talking about DSP and the whole emergency drama, what it could be, what could be going on. And they speculated, is it cancer, could be an emergency medical, could be gout related, whatever it can be. And one of the things that stuck out of my head was a very unique take by Steve of the Dead, where he talked about DSP's past actions, where when things like this have come up, where he's dour, he's sad, there's a problem, he doesn't want to talk about it. He has a history of doing this, and Steve made a really good point, and he focused on the time back when he was with Panda Lee, and how similar things came about. But he had a really good point. It stuck out because it was a different take than the other guys, and it focused on a main point that I found very interesting after today's podcast. So as you guys know, Phil was on his podcast, and of course he hem-hawed, didn't really talk about the emergency, but I found it very odd that he decided to bring up the point about his wife. So let's hear Steve's take, and then I'll play the video from today's podcast, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Again, this is Steve of the Dead from the That Being Said podcast that aired yesterday.
I really can't talk about it, guys.
Yeah.
I wish I could talk about it. I just can't talk about it. It's so tough. Really want to talk about it, but I can't, guys. I just can't. I wish I could, but I can't. So whatever. So that was a part of it too. Like, it's just weirdly, I can't talk about it, right? And he kind of felt like, it looked like he, this is speculation from ALT here, but it looked like he I wish I could talk about it, but I just can't. That's what I got, the feeling I got. But let's go to Steven's opinion, please. Mr. Steve of the Dead, what is your official take?
Do you remember after Panda had left and Phil would retroactively sort of say, by this point we weren't really a couple anymore, by this point we were just like ships in the night, we didn't see each other and all this stuff, and it's like, when you actually look back at it, it's like they're still together, he's still got to propose, So it's like, I think he's learned from that, and now he's covering up something else. Because we know how when he gets vague and obfuscated like this, he's covering something up. So medical, medical bills or medical issues sounds quite general. It sounds like it could be a wide number of things, and so it helps keep things vague. But Phil being Phil and me not trusting his word, I think there's something else going on that you want to hide to cover up, because you don't want to have to say this is what's going on. And I think one of the things that would hurt Phil the most is if he suddenly didn't have a wife anymore. So I'm leaning that way. I'm leaning towards this marital strife and things aren't going well. And it does also explain why he's been a bit testy recently and a bit, falling asleep. He could explain a lot of behavioral things, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's me just sort of looking for meaning in the evidence where none exists. But I'm leaning that way. And I would also like to sort of raise the issue of, the possibility it might be this June the King thing, this project.
Yes, I didn't say that too, but
I don't want to bias Sam's opinion or your opinion, but
DSP versus the internet.
That's what I don't see
a big project. You guys are going to love this project. I hope it comes out in the summer. He did say that there's a big project in the works. He can't share too much about, but he needed some good news to come out so bad that Saturday. He just spilled it. He's like, I need something good happening. Tips are low. I don't know what to say. There's no positivity here. I'll say this: there's a big project coming. You guys are going to really like it. I hope it comes out in the summer.
Absolutely, I think is going.
Well, I think I exposed what that. Well, Boogie 2988, I think exposed what that big project is. I think it's the Local podcast that he's trying to create with some third-party person. If you guys checked out my video, I showed some clips where Boogie was on the Side Scroller podcast doing an interview, and he exposed the fact that DSP is trying to create the Local podcast and essentially steal Keemstar's idea. So I think that's the big thing. So I don't think that's what it is. But I really think that when Steve's mentioned that about the divorce, it got me thinking. I was like, oh, that's a different take. And yeah, I can see that. I can really see that. But then, of course, I started thinking about, well, he keeps talking about medical and emergency and being the fact that he had to cancel his streams so abruptly yesterday. It reminds me of the time where back in February, I think it was last year or the year before that, where he couldn't stream and he had to run out, and people speculated it was a problem with Kat, him and Kat, and we don't fully know. We think it may have been that she was fired from her job, and that's why he had to that's why he abruptly stopped and didn't stream that day. You know, that was one speculation, but hearing Steve said that, it reminded me of that time where he kind of abruptly stopped streaming. He didn't want to talk about it. He was very vague. He was talking about his wife, and we noticed for a bit period after that, he didn't mention her too much. So that's what led to the speculation that there could have been a divorce arc. But yeah, Steve, I think, is hitting something on he's hitting the nail. I think he is, regarding that Phil is using this medical problem that, yeah, he may have, but it's nothing too seriously. I mean, it could be that the doctor told him, oh, you have to get some tests for your gout, or your uric acid levels are bad, and you need to modify your lifestyle as you get older to keep it under control. It could be something like that, right? But he's using it as a smokescreen to cover something else up. Just like Steve said, and big ups to Steve of the Dead. I always love his takes. He's a very brilliant man. So if you ever hear the podcast, always listen to what Steve has to say. He has a very keen insight into the human mind, and he's been around Phil forever, so he knows his subtleties and the kind of bullshit and the crap. He knows how to swim through the shit and the crap with Phil to find that nugget of truth. So the reason why I wanted to play that is today on his podcast, Phil talked about the issue, and of course he really didn't address it. But I wanted to play a key point where he talked about, oh, you know, I'm sorry I couldn't be here, but things came up, and, you know, I have to deal with it, and it's stressful. You know, the same thing he said back on Monday and yesterday. But for some reason, he oddly started focusing on Kat and his marriage, and I found it really out of place. And to me, it really sounded like Steve hit it on the head, where he said, yep, there's something going wrong here with his wife and his marriage, and that's why he was stressed out. And that's why he mentioned on Monday that, oh, Kat got up early and left to work. And I think that there may be a problem there. They were fighting. There's something going on. She left for work. He didn't know if she was going to come back. You know, of course, I'm speculating with some of this, but if you read into Phil's past statements with his previous relationships, you can kind of surmise that it could be something similar. So right here, after he goes on talking about, you know, his emergency or whatever, he starts talking about his wife and his marriage. Let's listen to it.
Emotions, a lot of bad stuff. It was not a good time. This is not me choosing to have an extra day off this week for good reasons. If anything, the only real, like, positive shining light in all of it is that, you know, my wife is with me. Thank God that when now I'm in tough times and things are going bad, that I have my wife with me, because that means the world. It really does. I'll be honest with you. When bad things happen these days, especially some of this stuff, I don't know if I'd be able to get through it if I was by myself. And that is one of the huge things about me, you know, finding Kat and being married to her and having a good life with her, that I'm so grateful for. Because, you know, going through life with someone who really truly loves you is something that I think a lot of people maybe even take for granted or don't understand. You know, when people make jokes about marriage and stuff, even on my streams, you know, I tell people, no, I'm not gonna be doing this or doing that. You know, I cherish my marriage. This is ridiculous. Why would I want to even think about that kind of stuff? And they make jokes about it. It's like, no, you just don't understand because you don't have it. If you had it, maybe you would. All right. But anyway, yeah, it was not a good time at all.
I buy the same products you do.
Oh my god, I don't have ad block. Anyway, so yeah, so I found it very interesting and so odd that he would start interjecting his marriage. Almost like he was self-reassuring himself, or maybe trying to put a message out there for Kat, like, hey, I do care about you. I do, you know, I do cherish this marriage and whatever. And listen to me, I'm talking about us and I'm talking about you, without spilling too much of their personal life. So if I had to speculate what's going on, I think Steve probably hit it on the head. He may have some medical issues related, you know, that are issues that are ongoing, but nothing, you know, to that extreme. But I think what may have happened is, yeah, they may have gotten to some spat or fight or something major. She may have left, or she may have stomped away or left, or what have you. And he was there all day feeling a bit depressed that she was gone and maybe worried that, oh, maybe she might leave. Maybe she's tired of this. I've talked about this before, that their marriage is a marriage of convenience. You know, she gets shelter, food, you know, the necessities that people need. And Phil gets someone that's there, that's a bit of a maid, you know, someone for company, someone to talk to every once in a while. And I really think that's what their marriage is. And of course, I think both of them are perfectly fine with that. But even in that type of marriage and relationship, people get tired of that. They get tired eventually. They get tired of doing the same things. They get tired of seeing the same person's face, especially if there is no, you know, like intimate relationship that might be going on there. You know, and of course, I'm speculating, but I'm going based off all the videos, the podcasts, the things Phil says about his wife. That's what I'm basing this on. And it could have been that, yeah, they may have had a big fight, and it may have gotten to the point where Kat maybe threatened to leave. Phil was scared, and that's the reason why he took off yesterday. He took off yesterday to kind of make it up to her, like, oh, look, you know, I don't have to work 6 days a week. I could take off a day, and we can be together and hang out and do fun stuff. Maybe I can take you to that Yankee candle place and finally buy you a candle that I was going to buy you for our anniversary a year ago and never did. You know, maybe I'll take you to get sushi and not Burger King. Maybe he decided to do a grand gesture yesterday and spend his whole day with his wife and not spend it on stream with a bunch of perverted strangers like Derek and so on. And it was a gesture to Kat to say, hey, look at me. I care about you. I want this marriage to work. It could be that. It could be that. And I just found it so strange that today he would bring up his marriage for some reason. It just didn't fit. Everyone understands that it's medically related, and that's the issue going on with Phil. But it's so odd. It's not like, oh, I have to call out because I have to take some appointments and get some stuff done. No, he wants to be just as vague, inconspicuous, not saying anything. And it leads people to speculate. And then, you know, when you hear statements just like he said about his marriage and all that, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if there's something going on there, and are we seeing the divorce saga playing out? Anyway, big ups to Steve of the Dead for pointing that out and catching that yesterday. And yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think. Is it a stretch? If it may be happening, maybe not. Do you believe Kat's gone? I mean, I've been under the impression for a while that she may have been gone a while ago. And just hearing the way Phil talks about her, I mean, I can see her just wanting to just start anew and finding someone that cares for her, that will treat her well, and not simply treat her as a roommate. So those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Peace out.